Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Merchant of Venice, and today we get to hear from Portia in Act 4, Scene 1. You know why I'm doing the quotes. We've been through this before. Anyway, moving on. Portia at this point is dressed as Balthazar, who is supposedly a lawyer friend of Bellario, but Balthazar was really the man that Portia sent to Bellario to get some clothes and some books and all that sort of thing that she was going to take with her on a ship to Venice. So she is now appearing at Antonio's trial as Balthazar in place of Bellario. So this legal expert Bellario that they reached out to will not be coming to the trial, but supposedly he and Balthazar, aka Portia, have talked through everything. They've looked at all the books. They are of one mind. Supposedly Balthazar knows even more about the law based on the letter that Bellario sent with Balthazar to be read in the court, that kind of a thing. So Portia is there dressed as Balthazar, and yesterday when she entered the courtroom, of course dressed as a he, dressed as Balthazar, they were like, so you know the case? And she's like, yep, you must be Shylock, you must be Antonio, and they're like, you're up to speed on everything. She's like, yeah, I know, I'm completely up to date on the case, and from what I can see, Shylock needs to be merciful to Antonio. And Shylock is like, why do I need to be merciful? The law says nothing about that. The law says I am owed this pound of flesh that was signed in this document by Antonio because he borrowed money to give to Bassanio so Bassanio could go and woo Portia, but secretly Portia is there as Balthazar, and she's somewhat invested in Antonio because Antonio is a good friend of Bassanio, her husband, all that sort of thing. So maybe there's a conflict of interest going on here. Who knows, whatever. But in any case, Shylock is like, why must I be merciful? And Portia says, the quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptered sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice, none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which if thou follow this strict course of Venice, must needs give sentence against the merchant there. So really what she said, this is a lovely ode to forgiveness is what's happening here. She's saying that whatever power a person has, be they the king, be they God, be they the most powerful being that there is, the most powerful way that they can express that is through a show of mercy. Like anybody can wield a scepter and make everybody afraid, but the true show of power is to forgive and be merciful and be empathetic and see something from somebody else's point of view, which is kind of beautiful. And she says all of this, saying that I hope, she's sort of saying to Shylock, I hope that this might quench your thirst for justice, because if you really, really want justice, the law says you get a pound of his flesh. And Shylock is like, I want a pound of his flesh. Like, where have you been this whole time? we hate each other. I want a pound of his flesh. And she's like, well, was he not able to pay back the money? And Bassanio comes in. He's like, here's twice the amount that's owed, which we've offered to give him. And Shylock is like, no, I want a pound of his flesh. And Portia, as Balthazar, is like, well, okay, then that's what you get. That's what the law says you get. You get a pound of his flesh. So sharpen your knife. Antonio, prepare your chest, because it says in the bond that the pound of flesh is supposed to be taken from nearest his heart. So Antonio, like, take off your shirt, get your chest ready to be carved out. Shylock, you got your knife already? Okay, cool. So Antonio, any last words? Any last thoughts? And of course Antonio has last words and thoughts, and they are tomorrow's monologue. So I will see you then for that. Mwah.